Jordan Pefok, I think, is so undeniable. We have to talk about him right now, especially as we build this starting lineup. The man has scored 8 goals in his last 5 games for Young Boys. That is getting into undeniable territory, Heath Pearce. I mean, to the point where I think you have to call him in. But what I understand, the knock on Pefok is that he doesn't necessarily press the way that Greg Berhalter likes, that he doesn't necessarily stay as connected with the group as Greg Berhalter would like. And I'm of the mindset of, if you got a hot hand, you bring him in and you make sure that he finds a way to get connected to the group and that he presses the way that you want. And I would assume that if you're on the precipice of making a World Cup team, or at least my mindset would be, I'll do whatever it takes to make sure that I make it. Tell me what you want me to do and I'll do it. And then I'm just going to add in my top form on top of it. And that should be a match made in heaven, but it doesn't always seem to work out that way. What are you thinking about Jordan Pefok? And do you feel like Greg should call him in for this upcoming window?
Even if you don't like him, he's got a hot hand. And we've seen that in the past where you've got look at this, 33 games played, 19 goals. And you're looking at a list of, again, most goals by U.S. players in Europe this season. It's an incredible amount of goals. And here's 2 things that I like about that. One,
by the way, all 4 of these players don't get called in for the national team.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the Christian Ramirez shout is solid. Haji Wright as well. But here's the thing that I like about Jordan Pefok is he is in form. And I think that's the most important part of any of this. Now, when we were talking about a few months ago, it's, Jordan Pefok, maybe like he did okay. Nations League, like he's a big body. What kind of player is he? We've also got Josh Sargent, who was sort of the go-to still then. And we've got this, Ricardo Pepi guy that's coming through. Well, now you've got a guy who's undeniably in form. And therefore, you have to play him or at least bring him in to say, hey, I've got this hot hand. When the timing's right, I'm going to get this inkling to put him in to close out a game for you. He's big. He covers a lot of ground. He covers a lot of space. He occupies a lot of space in the box. And he's got a hot hand. So you have to bring him in. There's no way you can deny this level of form. And yeah, you can talk about the league that he's playing in and all these things. But when you're inching on 20+ goals in a calendar year or in a full season, you're getting close to that sort of, this guy's going to be probably sold to a Bundesliga club or a top 4 or 5 in France, or, you're starting to inch into that territory of like, okay, this guy's going from being hot to being like, okay, he's rounded the corner. And now he's a goal scoring striker. And so when you look at the last 8 games again, or 5 games, whatever, it's like 8 goals. He had 4 against, I think it was Lugano that he had 4 goals against. He's in peak form. So you have to bring him in. And the other thing I like, the part 2 of that, which I just mentioned, is this, even if he's denied by the national team, which I'd be so disappointed in, because you just can't, every manager has had their hand forced from time to time, regardless of who they want to bring in, because of form, especially when it comes to strikers. But again, the thing that I like about this is now he gets a chance to go probably to another club. He's probably going to get sold this summer. And that's the most important thing for me.
Because I saw Venezia was interested in him in the January transfer window, but that's still a bit of a risk because they're in a relegation scrap, and I don't know. It's tough. I wonder where he would end up. Could he go maybe make a move to France? Like Jonathan David's going to leave Lille. Could he go to a Lille of that kind of quality where you're in the Champions League group stages and you might win the league like they did last season, but you're not necessarily the creme de la creme of Europe. You're more of a tier 2 club, I would say. I mean, I think that's a natural stepping stone from Young Boys, but I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that there is probably, I think he could be a double-digit striker a year in a number of one of the top sort of 5 leagues. Maybe not. I don't really like him in the Premier League. I mean, he's physical. He's big. He can occupy space, but he's just going to end up getting pushed to like a Norwich or something like that wants to spend that type of money on that type of risk. But if you got to a Bundesliga, I could see him being at a Wolfsburg, or again, pre sort of this season Wolfsburg, or I could see him being at one of these that likes to play with a traditional number 9 who's a big body up top that scraps for a lot of second balls, that gets in and around the box, can finish his opportunities. So I think somewhere like in the top half of the Bundesliga. Again, he's not going to be, the upside isn't going to be Chelsea for him. It's not going to be whatever. He's 25 years old and he's in great form right now, and he's showing that he can score goals. And so I think there's somewhere out there where he can be a double-digit striker a year in a top 5 league for a team that's not just battling relegation all the time. And I think that's a great move. And I think that's a great addition to our national team, to have somebody like that, as opposed to these super highs and lows of all the young players we're having right now, which is, they end up going, okay, yeah, Josh Sargent, Werder Bremen playing every game. Werder Bremen's going down, and now he's at Norwich with sort of, he's still playing, and I think it's great experiences, but I wonder for a player like him, was there a better option out there?
Yeah, I wonder. There's a lot of questions around Jordan Pefok, but he's going to answer a lot of those questions if he continues to score and hit the back of the net. And I think he'll have to force Greg Berhalter's hand, because he'd just be so obvious that you have to call him in, especially in games that we need to win. And we need guys that can score
in the Champions League. Like, it's not
Twice.
like he's
got
crap.
2 goals in the
Champions League. It's not like he's just crap and playing in a crap league and hit a run of form. Like, by any means. I know Michael Bradley scored almost 20 playing for Heerenveen, and I know Josie Altidore was 20 plus in Holland. I know people don't give as much credit to some of these other leagues, and I'll tell you, the Swiss league is not even close to the Dutch league, or it's probably somewhat close, but not.
Not there.
Yeah, you've got some historic clubs that have done well in Europe and things like that. And it's no walk in the park. And I understand that it's also not. I'd liken it probably to the top leagues in Scandinavia and things like that. However, scoring goals is scoring goals, and he's done it in more than just the domestic league, and so I think it would be stupid not to bring him in, knowing that he's at least hot, and you might get a chance to see that come to life when you need it most.